Hello and welcome to Classic Book Reviews with David. In this video I'll be discussing Postern of Fate by Agatha Christie. It was the last novel she ever wrote and it was published in 1973. It's a Tommy and Tuppence novel. Now you may not have heard of Tommy and Tuppence, but they were a pair of detectives. So Agatha Christie wrote novels about Poirot and about Miss Marple, and she wrote a collection of just 5 books about Tommy and Tuppence. They started in the 1920s, and this last book, as I said, was published in 1973. So there's quite a span of time over which these books were written. Interestingly, in these books, the characters, Tommy and Tuppence, actually age as you progress. So with time, from the 20s to the 40s to the 60s to the 70s, Tommy and Tuppence age, unlike Miss Marple and unlike Poirot, with the exception of the last Poirot novel where he does suddenly age. So this story is about Tommy and Tuppence who've moved into a new house. It's a rambling old place, and they've not just bought the house, but the contents with it. So there's furniture, bric-a-brac, and plenty of old books. And it's while Tuppence is looking through these books, she should be putting them on shelves in some sort of order, but she starts to get interested in their contents because she remembers some of them from her childhood. And it's while looking through one of these books that she notices that someone has been underlining words within the book. So she makes a note of the words, but when she puts them together they don't seem to make sense, and she's a bit baffled. It's only when she realises that she should be taking the first letter from each word that suddenly she finds a message. And the message is, Mary Jordan did not die naturally. It was one of us. Now, this note that was written in the book, by the looks of things, was written some 60 years earlier. And Tommy and Tuppence decide to try and find out who Mary Jordan was, if she died naturally, and who, if she was murdered, killed her. What they soon find out is that there are still forces at work who are connected with Mary Jordan, and it seems that Tommy and Tuppence may be in danger too for investigating this death, even though it took place long ago. The start to this novel is very intriguing and it's very interesting. It's very interesting with Tommy and Tuppence looking through all this dusty old furniture and the like and finding this secret message. And it's quite gripping. Unfortunately, I did find that the novel did decline as I read on. There were some odd little things going on. For instance, certain paragraphs or bits of dialogue virtually repeated themselves. And this may be to do, sadly, with Agatha Christie's failing mind. It may be that she had dementia or something like it in her old age. She was 83 or thereabouts when this novel was published, and it was her last novel. So despite the very exciting opening, it did just sort of decline, and not much seemed to happen for a very long time, with the exception of one murder around halfway through the book. I couldn't sort of figure out what was going on properly, and I never really figured it out even at the end. It seems to be sort of slightly not very well constructed. I do feel I'm being slightly harsh because the characters themselves are interesting, and I quite like the scenery, and it is intriguing, what's going on. It's not vintage Christie, but it's not a bad book. And I'd probably give the book 3 stars. I have to say, the opening, when I read the first 40 or 50 pages, I thought I was probably going to give the book 4 stars. But it did decline towards the end. And I didn't think the end was particularly satisfactory. But it is worth a read for any number of reasons, not least it being the final Tommy and Tuppence book, and it being the last book that Agatha Christie ever wrote. So 3 out of 5 from me. And that's it. If you'd like to follow on Facebook or Twitter, you can. And of course, you can always subscribe by clicking the link below. That's it for now. Thanks very much for watching.